She should have never touched that ring. In the world of the supernatural and the criminal, some objects carry a weight far beyond their gold content, but Adaobi didn't know that yet. To her, it was just a Tuesday. Let's go back just 3 hours earlier, Seoul, 2:00 a.m. The air in the Gangnam convenience store smelled of ozone and spicy broth. Adaobi sat hunched over a plastic table, the neon lights humming a low, electric tune above her head. She was slurping cheap ramyun, her eyes burning from 18 hours of medical textbooks. This was the dream, wasn't it? A Nigerian scholarship student at the top of her class. Broke, yes, exhausted, absolutely. But for the first time in her life, she was free. Then, she cracked open the second-hand textbook she'd bought at a dusty stall in Itaewon. And there, tucked between the yellowed pages of Gray's Anatomy, sat a jade ring. It wasn't just green, it was a deep, translucent emerald that seemed to glow under the fluorescent lights. It looked ancient, heavy with history. It was the kind of jewelry that cost more than her entire 4-year tuition. Now, any sensible person would have taken it to the police, but Adaobi was a long way from home and feeling a rare moment of whimsy. She slid it onto her ring finger, just to see, just for a second. That was her first mistake. The moment the jade touched her skin, a strange chill raced up her arm, settling in her chest like a block of ice. Panicked, she tried to tug it off. It wouldn't budge. It was as if the ring had shrunk, molding itself to her bone. Her second mistake, walking outside. The moment she stepped onto the empty street, the silence of the night felt heavy. Then, 3 black sedans drifted around the corner like sharks in dark water. 3 men in charcoal gray suits emerged from the shadows. They didn't look like muggers, they looked like soldiers. They weren't looking at her face, they were staring at her hand. "The Jang bride," one whispered into his phone, his voice a jagged rasp. "We found her, she's real." Adaobi didn't wait for a translation, she bolted. Here is what you need to understand about Adaobi. She grew up in the heart of Lagos. She had survived the chaos of the Third Mainland Bridge, the aggression of Danfo drivers, and the sharp eyes of area boys. When she ran, she didn't just move, she disappeared. Her ancestors guided her feet, turning her into a blur of purple braids and flying sneakers. But these men were supernatural in their speed. She ducked into a narrow alleyway, wrong move. The brick walls closed in, ending in a towering iron gate. Dead end, her heart slammed against her ribs like a trapped bird. "Nowhere left to run, little bride," the tallest man laughed. He pulled a serrated knife from his belt. Adaobi didn't scream, instead her Lagos instincts took over. She snatched a jagged glass bottle from a trash bin. "I don't know who you think I am," she hissed, her voice trembling but sharp, "but touch me and I swear you'll be performing your own surgery tonight." He lunged, she swung. Glass met flesh, blood splattered against the cold brick. The man roared in pain, clutching his face. But before she could move again, the other 2 pinned her. Her spine hit the wall with a sickening thud. The jade ring glinted under a flickering streetlight, and their eyes widened with a sick, hungry excitement. "Choi Min-seok will pay millions for this one muttered. Adaobi's vision began to blur. This is it, she thought. I survived Lagos just to die in a Korean alleyway over a ring I don't even own. Then light blinding white-hot headlights. A black sedan drifted into the alley with the grace of a predator. The engine didn't roar, it growled like a caged beast. The men froze, the window descended with agonizing slowness. The face that emerged was the kind that made grown men retreat into the dark. Sharp jaw, eyes that looked like they had seen the end of the world, and a jagged scar slicing from his left eyebrow down to his temple. Jang Hyun-woo. He didn't raise his voice, he simply said 2 words that carried the weight of a death sentence: "Release her." They dropped her like she was made of burning coal. Hyun-woo's gaze swept over Adaobi. He saw the torn jacket, the blood on her knuckles, and the raw terror in her eyes. Then his eyes landed on the ring. Something in his jaw hardened. "Get inside," he commanded. "I don't even know who you are," Adaobi shouted, her voice breaking. He reached out, his grip ice-cold and unforgiving, and pulled her into the leather-scented darkness of the car. "Good," he replied as the car screamed forward. "Keep it that way if you want to survive until sunrise." The sedan tore through the labyrinth of Seoul's backstreets, the speedometer climbing higher with every heartbeat. Adaobi's fingers trembled against the leather seat. She looked at the man beside her. He was a statue carved from shadows and expensive cologne. "Who are you?" she demanded, trying to find the fire in her soul again. "And why were those men calling me a bride? Is this a joke? Because it's not funny." Hyun-woo didn't turn. His eyes stayed fixed on the road, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. "Hey, I'm talking to you," Adaobi's voice cracked. "I was just studying. I have an exam on Thursday. I was eating noodles. Then suddenly people are trying to kidnap me for a ring I found in a book." That made him turn. His gaze dropped to her finger. It wasn't a look of love, it was a look of possession, cold, calculating. "Where did you get that?" His voice was a low, dangerous vibration. Adaobi instinctively covered the ring. "I told you, a second-hand book. Why, what is this thing?" He laughed, but it was a hollow, bitter sound. "That ring," he said slowly, "is the Jang family heirloom, the onyx jade. It is only given to one woman in every generation, the first wife of the heir." Adaobi felt the air leave her lungs. The first wife as in marriage. As in, every criminal organization from here to Busan now believes you are my secret bride. They believe you are the only weakness I have. Silence swallowed the car, broken only by the hum of the tires. Then Adaobi erupted. "Your bride? I've never met you before tonight. I don't even know your name. I came to Korea to save lives, not to be a trophy for some Mafia boss." He raised an eyebrow. "You can say the word, Adaobi, it's what I am." The reality hit her like a physical blow. This wasn't a movie, this was her life. "Stop the car," she whispered. "Let me out. I'll throw the ring in the Han River. I'll disappear. They'll never find me." Hyun-woo's expression darkened. "You think they'll forget your face? Choi Min-seok's men already photographed you. By morning, your file will be on every syndicate desk in Asia. If I let you out now, you won't make it 2 blocks. Then what am I supposed to do?" Her voice shattered. He was quiet for a long moment, the city lights dancing across his scarred face. Then, almost reluctantly, he spoke. "For now, you stay with me." Adaobi recoiled. "Stay with you? I don't trust you any more than I trusted those men in the alley." "I don't need your trust," he replied flatly. "I need you alive, because whoever planted that ring in your textbook wanted exactly this chaos, and I don't like chaos." "Wait, planted?" Adaobi's mind raced. Someone didn't just lose this ring. Someone put it where they knew a girl with no family, no protection, and no choice would find it. "Someone set me up," she breathed. "Now you're understanding." Hyun-woo leaned back. "You're not just a random victim, Adaobi, you were selected. The question is, why you?" The car turned onto a private road lined with ancient, gnarled trees. Massive, iron-wrought gates appeared ahead. As they swung open, Adaobi stared at the estate beyond. It was grand, terrifying, and silent. "This is your home?" she asked weakly. "This is your prison," he corrected, "until I find out who is trying to use you to destroy me." As the car stopped, Adaobi realized her old life, the late-night studying, the cheap ramyun, the dreams of being a doctor, was officially dead. She was in the underworld now, and the underworld never let go. The Jang estate was a masterpiece of architecture and paranoia. Armed guards stood like statues in the gardens. High-tech security cameras tracked Adaobi's every movement. The servants moved like ghosts, their heads perpetually bowed. It was a palace, but it felt like a tomb. Hyun-woo vanished into his office the moment they arrived, leaving her with a set of rules that felt like chains. Don't leave, don't call home, don't exist. By the third day, Adaobi was losing her mind. She stood in the middle of a guest room that featured silk curtains worth more than her family's house in Lagos. Her phone had been confiscated. Her questions were met with silence. But Adaobi was a daughter of Nigeria. She didn't break, she adapted. By the 5th day, she had memorized the guard rotations. By the 7th, she had reached her breaking point with the bland, silent meals. She walked into the massive, industrial kitchen and pushed the head chef aside. "Move," she said, her voice commanding. "If I eat one more bowl of unseasoned porridge, I will go into cardiac arrest." "Miss," the master said. "The master isn't eating this," she snapped. She found the pantry. She found garlic, ginger, and peppers. She couldn't find habaneros, but she made do with concentrated chili paste. An hour later, the smell of seasoned tomato, fried onions, and spicy meat began to waft through the sterile halls of the mansion. "What is this?" A giant of a man named Di-young, Hyun-woo's lead bodyguard, stood in the doorway, his hand on his holster. Adaobi stirred a steaming pot of red rice with a wooden spoon. "Jollof, Nigerian jollof, sit down, Di-young, you look like you haven't had a meal with actual soul in 10 years. The giant hesitated, he looked at the guards behind him, then, lured by the scent, he sat. That was how it started. Within an hour, the fiercest killers in Seoul were queuing up for second helpings of fried plantains and spicy rice. Adaobi sat among them not as a prisoner but as a queen, and she started listening. "The boss hasn't been the same since the incident," one guard murmured, his eyes watering from the spice. Adaobi leaned in. "What incident?" The room went ice cold. The guards exchanged panicked glances and stood up in unison, clearing their plates. "Forget I said anything," the guard muttered before scurrying away. The incident, she filed it away. That evening, she found Hyun-woo in the garden. He was standing under a cherry blossom tree, the pink petals falling like snow onto his black suit. He was smoking a cigarette, his back to her. "You've been asking questions," he said without turning. Adaobi crossed her arms. "You've been avoiding answers, that's usually how a conversation works, Hyun-woo." He exhaled a cloud of smoke. "Some truths are like poison, Adaobi, once you swallow them there's no going back." "I'm already poisoned," she shouted. "I'm hunted by a man named Choi Min-seok. I'm trapped in a house with a man who looks like he wants to kill me or marry me, and I don't know which is worse." He turned then, for a fleeting second the mask slipped. She saw a flicker of something raw, guilt or perhaps loneliness. "Someone leaked your passport photo to the Underworld," he said quietly, "months before you ever stepped foot in Incheon Airport." Adaobi's stomach dropped. "What?" "This wasn't a coincidence. Someone planned your scholarship. Someone placed that book in the stall. Someone orchestrated your entire life to bring you to that alleyway." He stepped closer, the scent of tobacco and sandalwood surrounding her. "You weren't randomly chosen, Adaobi, you were sent, and whoever sent you knows exactly who you really are." Adaobi felt a chill that had nothing to do with the night air, because suddenly the nightmare wasn't just about a ring, it was about her past. Someone from Lagos had sold her to the Korean Mafia. But who? The silence in Hyun-woo's study was heavy enough to crush bone. Outside, a sudden Seoul downpour lashed against the floor-to-ceiling windows, the sound like thousands of tiny fingers tapping, trying to get in. "I want answers," Adaobi announced, her voice echoing off the mahogany walls. Hyun-woo didn't look up from his desk. He was bathed in the amber glow of a single desk lamp, making his scar look like a jagged canyon across his face. "I'm busy, Adaobi, go back to your room." "I am trapped in a fortress. I am accused of being a mafia bride, and apparently I have a bounty on my head larger than the GDP of a small nation. Make time." He finally leaned back, his chair creaking. He studied her not as a prisoner this time, but as an equal opponent. He slid a photograph across the polished wood. It was her, arriving at Incheon Airport 3 months ago. She was wearing her favorite oversized hoodie, headphones around her neck, smiling at a world she thought was inviting her in. "How?" she whispered, her heart skipping a beat. "I told no one my flight details, not even my mother." "Someone has been curating your life like a museum exhibit," Hyun-woo said, his voice like gravel. He pulled out another photo, her university registration, then her scholarship application. "They didn't just watch you, they paved the road for you to be here." "Who would do this? I'm just a student from Lagos." Hyun-woo reached into a hidden drawer and pulled out a faded, cream-colored envelope. He placed it between them. "My men found this in the private archives. It's dated 23 years ago." Adaobi's fingers shook as she opened it. The paper felt brittle, smelling of old dust and dried ink. Then she saw the script. It wasn't Korean. It wasn't English. It was Igbo. The loops of the L, the way the G curved, she'd know that handwriting anywhere. It was her father's. "This is," she couldn't finish the sentence. "Written to my father," Hyun-woo confirmed. "Before we were even born, your father owed mine a life debt. In our world, that's not something you pay off with money. Adaobi read the words as tears blurred her vision. In exchange for the safety of my bloodline, I pledge the fruit of my house to the house of Jang. Marriage, she breathed, the word tasting like ash. He sold me, my hero, my father. He traded me like a piece of property. He didn't see it as selling you, Hyun-woo said, his voice surprisingly soft. He saw it as the only way to keep you alive in a world that was coming for him. Adaobi looked at the man across the desk, the man she was destined to belong to before she even took her first breath. The betrayal felt like a physical weight in her chest. Everything her life was built on was a lie. For 3 days, Adaobi became a ghost within the mansion. She refused the jollof she'd taught the chefs to make. She refused to speak. She simply sat by the window, watching the rain, mourning a father who had been dead for 11 years but had managed to betray her from the grave. But grief in a Lagos girl eventually turns into a diamond-hard rage. On the 4th day, she didn't knock. She kicked Hyun-woo's door open. He was standing by the window, his silhouette dark against the city lights. "You knew," she spat. "You've known about this arrangement since I arrived." "I learned of it 3 years ago when my father died," he said, not turning around. "But I never intended to honor it. I don't believe in arranged fates." "Then why am I still here?" "Because someone else is enforcing the contract." He turned, his eyes burning. "The letter resurfaced the week you landed. Someone leaked it to the syndicates. They're using our marriage to claim I'm forming an alliance with West African interests. It's making the other families paranoid. It's making them move against me." Adaobi laughed, a jagged, hollow sound. "So I'm a weapon, a pawn in your little chess game." "You are the queen on the board," he corrected, stepping into her space. "And right now, the king is under check. If we want to survive, we have to stop playing defense." He grabbed a gold-embossed invitation from the desk. "Choi Min-seok is hosting a gala. Every major family will be there. He thinks he can snatch you from me. He thinks I'm hiding you because I'm weak. And we're going to give them exactly what they're afraid of. We're going to confirm the rumors." Adaobi's breath hitched. "You want me to pretend to be your wife in front of everyone?" "Don't think of it as a marriage," Hyun-woo said, his hand hovering near her cheek but never touching. "Think of it as a declaration of war. Attend as my wife. Force the traitor to make a move. This ends when we find out who dug up that letter." Adaobi looked at the invitation. She could run, but she knew now there was nowhere to go. The world was small and the Jang family owned most of it. "If I do this," she said, her voice steadying, "I want my life back when it's over. No debts, no contracts. I want to be a doctor, not a mafia queen." "You have my word," Hyun-woo vowed, "on my life." The transformation began at 4:00 a.m. A team of the best stylists in Seoul descended upon Adaobi's room. They brought silks, satins, and jewel cases that looked like they belonged in a museum, but Adaobi wasn't interested in their diamonds. "Wait," she said, stopping the lead designer. "If I'm doing this, I'm doing it my way." She pulled a bundle from her suitcase, something she'd brought from home as a reminder of her mother. It was a length of royal purple Adaobi lace, hand-beaded and shimmering with deep violet crystals. The designer's eyes widened. This is exquisite. What is it?" "It's my heritage," Adaobi said. "Fuse it with your hanbok silhouettes. I want them to see exactly who I am." 6 hours later, Adaobi stood before the mirror. The result was breathtaking. The structured high-waist silhouette of a traditional Korean hanbok had been reimagined with the fierce, textured lace of Nigeria. Her hair was wrapped in a towering, elegant purple jewel pinned with jade brooches. She looked like a goddess of two worlds. Hyun-woo appeared in the doorway. He was dressed in a suit of midnight black, his white shirt crisp, his presence overwhelming. When he saw her, he actually stopped breathing for a second. The coldness in his eyes flickered, replaced by a raw, unadulterated admiration. "You look," he started, then cleared his throat. "They won't be able to look away." "That's the point, isn't it?" she replied, her heart drumming against her ribs. He stepped closer and produced a velvet box. Inside was a ring, not the jade one. This was white gold set with a black diamond that seemed to swallow the light. "My mother," he whispered, "the jade was for the contract. This one is for the woman who has the courage to stand beside me tonight. He slid it onto her finger. It was heavy, it was real. Ready, ghost bride? He asked. In Lagos we don't get ready, she said, lifting her chin. We stay ready. The gala was held in a glass ballroom perched atop a skyscraper overlooking the glittering lights of Seoul. It was a room full of monsters in expensive suits. When the doors opened and the announcer called their names, the music seemed to die. Every head turned. The whispers were like the sound of dry leaves. Look at her, is that the Nigerian? She looks like royalty. Hyun-woo led her into the center of the room, his hand firm on the small of her back. He was a shark in his own waters, but Adaobi was the one drawing the blood. Smile, he murmured. They need to think I've already won your heart. I'm a medical student, Hyun-woo, not an actress, she whispered back through gritted teeth. Suddenly, the crowd parted. Choi Min-seok approached. He looked older than the men in the alley, his eyes yellowed and full of malice. Hyun-woo, Min-seok purred, I see you've brought your exotic investment. A bold move considering how many people want to see her liquidated. Adaobi felt Hyun-woo's muscles tension, but she didn't wait for him to defend her. She stepped forward, the silk of her dress rustling like a warning. Mr. Choi, she said, her Korean perfect and cutting. I survived the streets of Lagos. Your liquidators couldn't even catch me in an alleyway. If you want to talk about investments, talk to my husband. If you want to talk about survival, talk to me. The room went dead silent. No one spoke to Min-seok like that. Min-seok's face twisted into a snarl. Control your woman, Jang. Why? Hyun-woo asked, his voice a low, terrifying rumble. She seems to be doing a much better job of controlling this room than you are. As Min-seok retreated, fuming, Adaobi scanned the crowd. Her eyes landed on a woman standing in the shadows of a marble pillar. She was middle-aged, elegant, wearing a white hanbok. But it was her eyes, they weren't full of malice, they were full of recognition and tears. Hyun-woo, Adaobi whispered, that woman, who is she? Hyun-woo looked, his entire body went rigid, his face turned the color of ash. That's impossible, he breathed. My mother died 12 years ago, I saw the casket. The woman saw them looking, she didn't move toward them, instead she turned and vanished through a service door. Stay here, Hyun-woo ordered, his composure shattering as he bolted after her. Adaobi didn't stay, she couldn't. She followed them into the bowels of the building, down a sterile, white-tiled corridor. She found them in a quiet lounge, the air thick with the scent of lilies. Hyun-woo was shaking. The most powerful man in Seoul looked like a lost child. Mother. The woman turned. She was beautiful, but her face was a map of hidden pain. Hyun-woo, you've grown into a man your father would have feared. You faked your death, he rasped. Why? To escape the monster your father was, she said simply, but I never stopped watching you, and I never stopped watching the debt. She turned her gaze to Adaobi. You look so much like your father, Adaobi, same stubborn chin, same fire in the eyes. You're the one, Adaobi realized, the pieces clicking together. The textbook, the ring, the leaked photos, it was you. I had to, the woman said. Choi Min-seok found your father's hiding place in Nigeria. He was going to kill him to get to the Jang family secrets. The only way to save your father was to bring you here, to make you untouchable by making you a Jang. Where is he? Adaobi's voice was a scream. Where is my father? He's here in Seoul, the woman whispered. Hiding in the shipping terminals. He's been waiting for the moment it was safe to see you. Safe, Hyun-woo growled. You've put a target on her back. Better a target on her back in a palace than a grave in Lagos, his mother replied. Min-seok is moving tonight. He's going to the terminal to kill your father. If you want to end this, you have to go now. The shipping terminal was a graveyard of rusted metal and fog. Hyun-woo's sedans drifted into the yard, headlights cutting through the mist. Adaobi jumped out before the car even fully stopped. Adaobi, wait for the guards, Hyun-woo shouted, drawing his weapon. But she was already running. She saw a figure huddled between two massive blue containers. A man, older, his hair was white now, his shoulders hunched. Papa, she called out. The man turned, it was him, the man from the photos, the man from her childhood. Adaobi, my little girl. The reunion lasted only a second. The sound of a cocking hammer echoed. Choi Min-seok stepped out from behind a crate, a dozen gunmen behind him. How touching, the ghost bride and the ghost father, we can bury you in the same hole. Not tonight, a voice boomed. Hyun-woo stepped into the light, his silhouette framed by the glow of his guards' tactical lights. The terminal erupted into chaos. Gunfire shredded the air, metal sparked as bullets ricocheted off containers. Adaobi shoved her father to the ground, shielding him with her own body. Stay down. She saw a man lunging at Hyun-woo from the side with a knife. Without thinking, Adaobi grabbed a heavy iron docking hook from a nearby rack. She didn't use it like a doctor. She used it like a girl who had survived the toughest markets in Africa. She swung, the metal connected with the attacker's ribs with a sickening crack. Hyun-woo spun, his eyes meeting hers for a split second amidst the smoke. He saw the fire in her, he saw the warrior, he nodded once, a silent acknowledgement of her strength. Min-seok tried to flee toward a waiting boat, but Hyun-woo was faster. He didn't use his gun. He dropped it and met Min-seok with his bare hands. It wasn't a fight, it was an execution. You touched what was mine, Hyun-woo hissed, his voice echoing over the lapping waves of the harbor. You don't get to run. As the police sirens began to wail in the distance, Min-seok's men threw down their weapons. It was over. The sun began to rise over the Incheon skyline, painting the water in shades of bruised gold and pink. The terminal was crawling with authorities. Hyun-woo's lawyers were already weaving the narrative: self-defense, a family dispute, a misunderstood student. Adaobi sat on the edge of an ambulance, a blanket wrapped around her purple and gold dress. Her father sat beside her, his hand clutching hers. I'm sorry, he whispered. I thought I was saving you. You were, she said, looking at him. But don't ever think I need someone to save me again. I'm my mother's daughter, Papa. I'm stronger than you remembered. Hyun-woo walked over, his suit torn, his knuckles bloodied. He looked at Adaobi's father, then at her. He didn't say a word, he just stood there, a silent sentinel. What happens now? Adaobi asked. Your father goes into witness protection, Hyun-woo said. My mother will ensure he's taken care of. He'll be safe, truly safe this time. And me? Hyun-woo looked down at the black diamond ring still on her finger. You are free, the contract is burnt, the debt is paid, you can go back to your university, you can be a doctor. Adaobi looked at the ring. Then she looked at the man who had risked everything for a girl he barely knew. She felt the weight of the last few weeks, the fear, the adrenaline, the strange, magnetic pull of this broken man. My classes start at 8:00 a.m. on Monday, she said quietly. I'll have a car waiting, he replied. Hyun-woo. Yes. I'm still keeping the ring, she said, a small, defiant smile playing on her lips. In case I need to remind people who they're dealing with. For the first time since she'd met him, Jang Hyun-woo laughed, a real, deep sound that made him look human. The ghost bride of Seoul, he mused. I think the city is going to have a hard time forgetting you. As they drove away from the terminal, the city waking up around them, Adaobi knew her life would never be the same. She was a doctor in training, she was a daughter, and maybe in the shadows of the skyscrapers she was something more.